A single footstep. That is where it begins. It is not the final, thundering stride that breaks the tape at the finish line, but the first one. The first tentative step onto foreign soil. The first nervous step onto a running track. For Gout, each footstep carries the echo of 1,000 miles and a history that stretches far beyond the athletic arena. His story is not just about speed, it is about distance. The distance between a war-torn village in South Sudan, a starting block in Australia. Being a boy with no country, becoming a young man who carries the hopes of a nation on his shoulders. It is a story of improbable, almost impossible transformation. We often look at exceptional athletes and see only the final product. We see effortless grace. We see explosive power. We see medals hanging around their necks. We marvel at their talent as if it were a magical gift. But this view is incomplete. It misses the journey. It ignores the environment. It ignores the culture. It ignores the series of fortunate accidents and extraordinary efforts that shape a champion. To truly understand how Gout became Australia's next great sprint sensation, we must look past the finish line. We must rewind the tape. We must slow it down. We must examine the forces that propelled him forward. We have to ask a simple, yet profound question. How does this happen? The answer is never simple. It is a complex tapestry woven from threads of personal resilience, family sacrifice, community support. It involves a coach who saw potential where others saw none. It involves a school that provided a sanctuary. And it involves a young boy's innate desire to run, not away from his past, but towards a future he could barely imagine. Gout's ascent is a classic tale of the outsider, the underdog who defies the odds. But it is also a uniquely Australian story, one that speaks to the nation's evolving identity, and the power of sport to create a sense of belonging for those who arrive from the farthest corners of the globe. In the world of elite sprinting, hundredths of a second separate the victor from the vanquished. Careers are defined by these infinitesimal margins. Yet the foundation for that success is built over years, through countless hours of unseen labor and quiet determination. This is the story of those hours. It is the story of how a lanky kid from Ipswich, Queensland, with roots in the Dinka people of South Sudan, learned to channel his history into pure, unadulterated speed. It is a journey that challenges our conventional ideas about talent, about opportunity, and what it truly takes to become one of the fastest humans on the planet. The story begins not on a state-of-the-art synthetic track, but on the dusty, sun-baked earth of Bor, South Sudan. This is a place defined more by its resilience than by its resources. For Gout's family, life was a fabric of close-knit community ties, ancient traditions, and the ever-present shadow of conflict. He was born into a world where running was not a sport. It was a part of life. It was a means of play, a way to cover the vast distances of the savannah, and sometimes a necessity for survival. This early, unstructured movement, this constant motion, was the first unconscious training session. It built a foundation in his muscles and his mind that no formal coaching ever could. Migration is an act of profound hope and deep loss. When the Gout family made the decision to leave their homeland, they were not just seeking safety, they were seeking a future. The journey to Australia was a leap into the unknown, a severance from language, culture, and kinship. They arrived in Brisbane, a city of sprawling suburbs and unfamiliar rhythms. The initial years were a period of intense adjustment, learning English, navigating a new society, finding a foothold. Sport became more than a pastime. It was a bridge. In a schoolyard, Gout found a universal language: competition. The rules of a foot race were simple and clear. It was here his natural ability first became apparent. He wasn't just fast, he was different. There was a fluidity to his movement, an effortless stride that left others behind. Teachers and classmates noticed. A quiet murmur began to build around the new kid from Africa who could run like the wind. It was the raw, joyful expression of a gift he was only just beginning to understand. This early chapter holds the key to his later success. Endurance forged in his homeland, resilience built through displacement, sanctuary found in sport. He was not a product of a high-performance academy. He was the product of his circumstances. From the plains of South Sudan to suburban sporting fields, greatness emerging from the unlikely, nurtured by innate talent, unwavering family love, and a second chance. Gout's story begins in a place of immense history and staggering beauty. He is a child of the Dinka people, one of the largest ethnic groups in South Sudan. The Dinka are known for many things. They are cattle herders, their culture and survival tied to herds roaming the wetlands of the Nile Basin. They are also known for their extraordinary height. For generations, the Dinka have been among the tallest populations on Earth. That is a testament to a diet rich in milk and a life lived in motion. This genetic inheritance is not a guarantee of athletic success, but it is a starting point. It is a physical predisposition, raw material that can be molded into something remarkable. Life in his parents' homeland was governed by seasons and traditions. It was a world far removed from digital clocks and paved roads. Time was measured by the sun's arc and the rhythm of communal life. Children like Gout's parents grew up with a profound connection to the land. They ran across open plains, not for sport, but for play and necessity. They herded cattle for miles, building stamina and an intuitive understanding of their own bodies. This was not training in the modern sense. There were no stopwatches or heart rate monitors. It was simply life. Continuous, low-intensity conditioning shaping generations. But this idyllic picture is incomplete. South Sudan's reality in the late 20th and early 21st centuries was also brutal conflict. The Second Sudanese Civil War tore the country apart. It displaced millions, turning homes into battlegrounds and futures into question marks. For families like Gout's, staying was not an option. The search for safety became everything. The land that sustained them could no longer offer a future. The journey out was necessity. This is Gout's dual inheritance. On one hand, the legacy of the Dinka, the height, the long limbs, the physical foundation built by generations on the move. On the other hand, the legacy of conflict, displacement, loss, and the resilience to survive. His athletic potential cannot be separated from his history. The forces that forced his family to flee are tied to the path that led him to a running track in Australia. He is a product of peace and of war, of a pastoral tradition and of a refugee's flight. The first sight of Brisbane is, a shock to the system. The scale of it, the speed of it, the noise of it. For a family arriving from the relative quiet and uniformity of a refugee camp, an Australian city is a sensory overload. The gleaming towers of glass, the endless rivers of cars flowing along multi-lane highways, the overwhelming abundance of supermarkets, where aisles stretch on, filled with foods that are strange and unfamiliar. This was the new world that greeted the Gout family. It was a world of bewildering complexity, a stark contrast to the life they had left behind. Everything was different, from the taste of the water to the feel of the air. Language is the first and highest wall. When you cannot understand what people are saying, and you cannot make yourself understood, you are isolated. Simple tasks become monumental challenges. Asking for directions, reading a bus schedule, making a doctor's appointment. These are hurdles that can feel insurmountable. For Gout's parents, the primary challenge was finding work and navigating the systems of school, healthcare, and housing. For a young Gout, it was the schoolyard. He was the new kid, but he was more than just new. He was the kid who looked different, spoke a different language, and came from a place most of his classmates couldn't find on a map. This period of adjustment is a delicate one. It is a time of culture shock, a feeling of disorientation that can be deeply unsettling. The comfort of familiar routines is gone. The support of a wider community of relatives and friends is thousands of miles away. In its place is a small nuclear family unit, huddled together for warmth and support in a strange new land. They had to be everything to each other, teachers, translators, friends, and protectors. This intense family bond, forged in the crucible of migration and resettlement, became a powerful source of strength. It was the anchor that held them steady in the turbulent waters of their new life in Australia. It is in this context of profound change and challenge that sport often emerges as a powerful tool for integration. On a sporting field, the rules are the same for everyone. The language of effort and skill is universal. It doesn't matter where you come from or what language you speak at home. What matters is how fast you can run, how well you can kick a ball, or how far you can throw. For a child struggling to find their place, this is a powerful discovery. It is a space where they can prove themselves on their own terms, where their physical abilities can speak for them when their words cannot. In the chaotic world of a primary school playground, social hierarchies are established quickly. They are built on a complex and often unspoken set of rules. But one currency is universally understood: physical prowess. The child who can climb the highest, throw the farthest, run the fastest holds a special kind of status. For young Gout, still grappling with the intricacies of English, this was a language he understood instinctively. He might not have been able to join in the jokes or classroom discussions, but when the lunch bell rang and the children spilled out onto the oval, he could speak. He spoke with his legs. His first races were not organized events. They were spontaneous chases, games of tag, informal dashes from one side of the schoolyard to the other. It was here that his gift became undeniable. It was not just that he was fast, it was how he ran. Smoothness, a liquid grace to his stride. While other children pumped their arms and legs with frantic energy, Gout seemed to glide across the ground. Teachers on yard duty would stop and watch. Classmates would challenge him only to be left trailing in his wake. These early displays of speed were more than play. They were a bridge to his new community. Winning a race in the playground earned him respect. It gave him an identity beyond the new kid from Africa. He became Gout, the fast runner. This was a name he could understand, a title he could wear with pride. It opened doors. Other children wanted him on their team. It gave him a way to connect and to belong. Sport provided the common ground language had not yet offered. It was the beginning of his integration into Australian life, a process that happened one foot race at a time. This discovery was transformative. It gave him confidence. It gave him a way to express the energy and vitality bottled inside him. The joy of running, feeling the wind on his face and the ground disappearing behind him, became a refuge. It was a simple, pure activity in a life that had become incredibly complex. He wasn't thinking about championships or records. He was simply a boy who had found something he was good at, something that made him feel powerful and free. This raw, untutored love for running was the fuel, the essential spark that would ignite his incredible journey into the world of elite athletics. Every Australian school has its annual sports carnival. It is a day of house colours, cheering classmates, a welcome break from the classroom. For most students, it is a day of participation, a chance to have fun, and earn a few points for their team. But for a select few, it is something more. It is a stage, the first formal setting where playground talent is measured with a stopwatch and recorded on a piece of paper. For Gout, the sports day at Ipswich Grammar School changed everything. It was his revelation. He'd been the fast kid on the oval for a while, but a formal race is different. Starting blocks, lanes, a finish line, a real sense of occasion. When Gout lined up for the 100-meter dash, he was no longer just running for fun. He was competing. The starter's pistol fired. The casual playground grace transformed. It became focused, explosive power. Others fought the track, straining with every step. Gout looked born for it. His long stride, once a curiosity, now a devastating weapon. He didn't just win, he dominated. The gap was startling. Teachers and parents sat up and took notice. Fast at tag is one thing, speed under a timed event is another. This was not just fast, this was potential, the kind of talent coaches dream of finding. The stopwatch time impressed, but the visual captivated. A young man running with form so natural it felt preordained. After the race, a quiet buzz spread through teachers and coaches. Questions started. Who is this kid? Has he been coached? Does he belong to a club? The sports day had done its job. It filtered out an outlier, a young athlete beyond the norm who demanded attention. For Gout, the day brought a ribbon, the cheers of his friends, but more importantly, visibility. He had stepped into the spotlight. Structured athletics was about to come calling. Clubs, coaches, disciplined training was about to come calling. Talent is like a seed. It contains all the potential for greatness, but without the right soil, water, and sunlight, it will never grow. For Gout, the nurturing environment he needed came in the form of the Ipswich and District Athletic Club and a coach named Di Shepherd. Shepherd was a seasoned coach, someone who had seen generations of young athletes come and go. She knew how to spot genuine ability, but more importantly, she knew how to cultivate it. When Gout was first brought to the club, she saw what everyone else saw: the effortless stride, the natural speed. But she also saw the raw, unrefined edges. The transition from schoolyard running to formal training is a significant one. It is the difference between playing and practicing. Suddenly, running was not just about going fast, it was about technique. It was about drills, repetitions, drive phase, stride frequency, arm action. Shepherd began the slow, patient process of molding Gout's raw talent into the form of a competitive sprinter. She didn't try to change his natural style completely. Instead, she worked with it, making small, incremental adjustments to make him more efficient and powerful. This was the beginning of his athletic education. The Ipswich Club became a second home. It was a community of athletes, coaches, and families united by a shared passion for track and field. Here, Gout was no longer an outsider. He was a sprinter. He was part of a team. The club provided the structure and resources he needed to develop: a proper track, starting blocks, and a regular schedule of training and competition. It also provided mentorship. Older athletes offered advice. Coaches like Shepherd provided the consistent guidance that is essential for any young athlete's development. This supportive ecosystem was just as important as the physical training itself. The early results were encouraging. Gout began competing in local and regional meets, and the victories started to pile up. Each race was a learning experience, a chance to test his developing skills against other talented runners. There were failures too, races where he was beaten, or where his technique broke down under pressure. But these setbacks were crucial. They taught him humility and highlighted the areas where he still needed to improve. Under Shepherd's watchful eye, he was not just getting faster. He was learning the craft of sprinting. He was learning how to compete, how to handle both success and failure, and how to become a true student of his sport. The podium moment is the culmination of it all. It is the final frame in the movie, the destination at the end of the long and winding road. As Gout stands on the dais, the weight of the medal placed around his neck is more than just the heft of gold, silver, bronze. It is the weight of history. It feels like the dust of the South Sudanese plains, the uncertainty of the refugee camp, and the hope of a new beginning in a foreign land. It is the weight of his parents' sacrifices, the long hours they worked, and the unwavering belief they had in their son. It is the weight of a coach's guidance and a community's support. This single gleaming disc is a symbol of a journey that was never undertaken alone. Looking out at the sea of faces and the fluttering flags, the sound is a distant hum. In that moment, the mind flashes back. It recalls the schoolyard races, the first formal training session, the pain of injury, and the triumph of the comeback. It is a highlight reel of 1,000 small moments of struggle and perseverance that led to this one singular moment of public glory. The immediate aftermath is a blur of flashing cameras, outstretched microphones, and heartfelt congratulations. But beneath the chaotic surface of celebration, there is a profound sense of peace. It is the quiet satisfaction of knowing that a goal, once a distant dream, has been achieved through sheer force of will and relentless effort. The impact of this victory ripples outwards, far beyond the confines of the stadium. For the South Sudanese diaspora in Australia and around the world, it is a moment of immense pride. Gout's success is their success. He is a reflection of their own resilience, a powerful symbol of what can be achieved against the odds. In the community halls of Brisbane and Melbourne, his race is replayed, his name is cheered, and his story is told as an inspiration to a new generation. He has given them a hero who looks like them, who shares their history, and who validates their own journeys of migration and settlement. His victory is a shared one. For the wider Australian community, the podium moment also holds a mirror up to the nation. It tells a story of modern Australia, a place where a refugee child can become a national champion. It challenges old notions of identity and belonging, replacing them with a more inclusive and dynamic picture. Gout, the boy from Boer, has become Gout, the Australian sprinter. His story becomes part of the national narrative, a testament to the power of sport to unite people from all backgrounds and to create heroes that everyone can celebrate. The medal is not just his. It belongs to everyone who believes in the promise of a second chance. The story of Gout teaches us a fundamental lesson about resilience. It is not an innate quality that some people are born with and others are not. It is a muscle, forged in the fires of adversity and strengthened through repeated use. His family's journey from a war-torn country, their adaptation to a new culture, his own personal battles with injury and pressure, all of these experiences built a deep reservoir of mental fortitude. His story reminds us that the obstacles we face do not have to define our limits. They can, instead, become the very source of our strength. It shows that the human spirit has a remarkable capacity to endure, to adapt, and ultimately to triumph. His journey also offers a powerful insight into the complex interplay of identity and belonging. He is a man of two worlds, roots deeply planted in the soil of South Sudan, branches reaching for the sky in Australia. He has not had to choose one over the other. Instead, he has woven them together to create a unique and powerful identity. He honors his Dinka heritage while proudly wearing the green and gold. His story demonstrates that belonging is not about erasing the past, but about integrating it into the present. It is a powerful message in a world where questions of migration and identity are more relevant than ever. Looking forward, Gout's goals will undoubtedly evolve. There will be new barriers to break, new championships to win, perhaps the ultimate dream of an Olympic medal. His athletic career is still in its early chapters, and the full extent of his potential is yet to be seen. But his legacy will be defined by more than just times and titles. His true legacy will be in the inspiration he provides. He has shown countless young people, especially those from migrant and refugee backgrounds, that their circumstances do not have to dictate their destiny. He has opened a door and shown them what is possible. Ultimately, Gout's story matters far beyond the world of sport because it is a story of hope. It is a testament to the idea that talent is universal, even if opportunity is not. It demonstrates how communities support personal determination. The simple act of giving someone a chance can unlock human potential in the most extraordinary ways. His race is not just a 100-meter dash, it is a marathon of the human spirit. It reminds us that behind every headline and every medal, there is a human story of struggle, sacrifice, and incredible resilience. And that is a story worth telling.